This is it, the leak that changes everything. For years, the rumors have been circulating in the darkest corners of the financial internet. We heard whispers about a new battery chemistry. We heard rumors about a solid-state breakthrough, but we were looking in the wrong place. While everyone was obsessed with the battery, Elon Musk was quietly engineering a revolution in the motor itself. And today, we finally have the smoking gun. A source, claiming to be a former engineer at the Giga Texas facility, has just released information that, if true, doesn't just change the valuation of Tesla, it breaks the global silver market overnight. The headline is terrifying for anyone shorting precious metals. Tesla is moving away from copper windings. The new high-efficiency plaid motors effectively delete copper from the equation. They are switching to silver, and not just a little bit of silver. We are talking about massive industrial-scale consumption that the mining sector is physically incapable of meeting. You need to understand the gravity of this. The entire global supply chain is built on the assumption that copper is the industrial standard and silver is a monetary metal that occasionally gets used in solar panels. That assumption just died. If this leak is accurate, the demand for industrial silver just multiplied by a factor of 10. And the price? The price you see on the screen right now, that $30-something spot price, is a ghost. It is a price for a world that no longer exists. Let's break down exactly what was leaked, why Tesla is doing this, and why the bullion banks are terrified that this news gets out before they can cover their short positions. The leaked internal memo allegedly details the specifications for the Model 2 and the next-generation robotaxi fleet. The engineering problem Tesla hit was heat. As they try to push more amperage through smaller, lighter motors to increase range and efficiency, copper hits a physical limit. Copper is a great conductor, second only to silver, but second best doesn't cut it when you are trying to dominate the future of energy. When you push copper too hard, it heats up. Resistance increases, efficiency plummets, you lose range, you lose power. Silver is the most conductive metal on the periodic table. It is the ultimate electron mover. The only reason we don't use it in every wire in every house is cost. But here's the secret that Wall Street analysts are missing. In a high-performance, high-efficiency electric motor, the cost of the raw material is irrelevant compared to the performance gain. If using 50 ounces of silver in a motor gives you an extra 100 miles of range because you eliminated heat loss, that silver is worth its weight in gold to the manufacturer. The leak suggests that Tesla has developed a silver-sintered motor winding. By replacing copper with a silver alloy, they reduce the motor size by 30% while increasing its output power. But here is the part that should make you run to your local coin shop. The estimated silver content per vehicle isn't the half ounce we see in today's cars. The leak points to a massive increase. We are talking potentially 5 to 10 ounces of silver per vehicle in these high-performance drivetrains. Do the math. It is terrifying. Tesla produces nearly 2 million cars a year. If they switch just half their fleet to this new standard, that is millions of ounces of new demand that does not exist. The mining industry is already in a deficit. For the last 4 years, we have consumed more silver than we have dug out of the ground. The vaults are draining, the COMEX is bleeding, and now the biggest manufacturing entity on the planet supposedly just decided to become the world's largest silver hoarder. Why hasn't this hit the mainstream news? Why is CNBC talking about interest rates and ignoring the fact that the most critical industrial metal is about to vanish? Because they can't talk about it. If they admit that Tesla needs 100 million ounces of silver over the next few years, the price doesn't go to $50. It goes to $500. The derivatives market, the paper casino that suppresses the price, would implode. There are billions of dollars in short positions held by major banks that rely on the idea that silver is abundant. But silver is not abundant. Above ground, we have less available silver than gold. Think about that. Gold is hoarded. It sits in central bank vaults. It sits in jewelry boxes. It is never consumed. Silver is burned. It is used in missiles. It is used in solar panels. It is used in electronics. And once it is used, it is gone. It ends up in landfills, too cheap to recycle. We have been burning the candle at both ends for decades, assuming the supply would always be there. This Tesla leak is the match that lights the powder keg. But it is not just Tesla. Do you think the Chinese EV makers are going to sit back and let Elon Musk have the superior technology? No. If Tesla moves to silver windings, BYD moves to silver windings, NIO moves to silver windings. The entire automotive industry, which is currently consuming copper, will be forced to pivot to silver to stay competitive. This is the silver-only motor leak. It represents a total paradigm shift. We are moving from an era where silver was a precious metal to an era where it is a strategic energy metal. The difference is crucial. A precious metal is nice to have. A strategic energy metal is something nations go to war over. It is something you ban the export of. We have already seen signs of this. Remember the solar panic? China produces the vast majority of the world's solar panels. They know they need silver. Why do you think the Shanghai Gold Exchange has been trading silver at a premium to the Western spot price? They are draining the West of physical metal. They know what is coming. They know that physics doesn't lie. You cannot cheat Ohm's law. If you want the most efficient energy transition, you need silver. There is no substitute. So what happens when the news officially breaks? What happens when Elon Musk walks on stage, holds up the new motor, and says, "It's silver"? First, the industrial panic. Companies like Samsung, Apple, and Sony, who also need silver for their electronics, will realize the supply window is closing. They will start panic buying. They won't care about the price. They need the metal to keep their factories running. This is price inelastic demand. If Apple needs silver for an iPhone, they will pay $100 an ounce. They will pay $200. It adds pennies to the cost of the phone, but without it, they have zero product. Second, the investment panic. The retail public, the people currently asleep at the wheel, will wake up. They will see the headlines. Tesla buys silver mine. Silver shortage halts EV production. They will rush to the dealers. But here's the trap. The dealers won't have any. We saw a preview of this in 2020. We saw it again in 2023. Premiums skyrocketed. The spot price was $25, but you couldn't buy an Eagle for less than $40. When the Tesla news hits, the premiums will detach completely from the spot price. The spot price might say $50, but the real price, the price to get metal in your hand, might be double that, and that is if you can find it. Let's go deeper into the leak itself. The documentation supposedly outlines a Project AG. AG is the chemical symbol for silver. The project details a supply agreement with 3 major miners. But here is the kicker. The miners are exclusively in friendly jurisdictions. Tesla knows that geopolitical tensions are rising. They can't rely on silver from potentially hostile nations. This narrows the supply pool even further. It means the silver in Mexico, in Peru, in the US, and Canada is the only silver that matters to them. This creates a bifurcated market. Strategic silver versus dark market silver. The clean, ethically sourced North American silver will command a massive premium. And who owns that silver right now? You do. If you have a stack of maples or eagles, you are holding the strategic asset of the 21st century. The skeptics will say, it's too expensive. Tesla would never increase their BOM cost like that. These are the same skeptics who said electric cars would never work. They are thinking in terms of 2020 economics. In 2025, efficiency is the only currency that matters. Energy density is the only metric that counts. If silver gives you a 30% edge over the competition, it is cheap at any price. Furthermore, look at the sheer amount of copper Tesla currently uses. It is massive and heavy. By switching to silver, the weight reduction alone justifies the cost. A lighter car needs less battery. Less battery means you save money on lithium and cobalt. So, by spending more on silver, they actually save money on the total vehicle build. It is a masterstroke of engineering economics. And it is the worst nightmare for the silver shorts. The bullion banks have been playing a game of musical chairs for 40 years. They sell paper contracts representing silver that doesn't exist to push the price down so they can buy back cheaper. It works as long as nobody asks for the physical metal. It works as long as silver is just a speculative asset. But when silver becomes a critical industrial component for the largest manufacturing sector in the world, the game stops. Tesla doesn't want a paper contract. They can't build a motor with a paper slip from the COMEX. They need the 1,000-ounce bar. They need the physical atoms. When a whale like Tesla demands delivery, the paper market breaks. There is roughly 300 paper ounces traded for every 1 ounce of physical silver in the vault. If Tesla demands just 5% of the global supply, the leverage unwinds. The shorts get squeezed. We are looking at a GameStop scenario, but on a global scale and with a commodity that is essential for modern civilization. And consider the timing. This leak comes exactly as we see inventory levels at the LBMA and COMEX hitting multi-year lows. The registered inventory, the metal actually available for sale, is dangerously thin. We are one panic buy away from a default. A default means the exchange has to admit we don't have the silver. When that happens, the price discovery mechanism shifts from the paper market to the physical market. In a physical-only market, the price is whatever the holder says it is. If you have the silver and Tesla needs it, you set the price. Is it $100? $200? Who knows? The ceiling is removed. This is why I tell you to watch the industrial usage numbers, not the CPI. The inflation narrative is important, yes. The collapsing dollar is important, yes. But the industrial consumption narrative is the rocket fuel. Inflation creates a slow, steady rise. Industrial panic creates a vertical line. The silver-only motor is the catalyst we have been waiting for. It validates everything we have been saying about the undervaluation of silver. It proves that the price has been artificially suppressed while the utility has been skyrocketing. The disconnect between price and value is now at a breaking point. Imagine a world where every new car, every solar panel, every 6G tower, and every AI server farm is fighting for the same diminishing pile of silver. That is the world of 2026. This Tesla leak is just the first domino. We also need to talk about the recycling aspect, or the lack thereof. You cannot easily recycle the silver out of these high-tech applications. When silver is sintered into a motor winding or pasted onto a solar cell, it is extremely difficult and energy-intensive to recover. It's not like melting down granddad's silverware. This means the supply is being destroyed. We are taking an element that took billions of years to form in supernovas, digging it up and locking it away in landfills. The above-ground stock is shrinking, not growing. So we have shrinking supply, exploding demand, and a massive short position held by trapped banks. And now, the catalyst, Tesla. If you are sitting on the sidelines waiting for a dip, you are playing a dangerous game. The dip was at $20. The dip was at $25. We are now in the breakout phase. When this news becomes official, and it will, the gap up will leave you behind. You won't be able to log into your bullion dealer's website because the server will be crashed. You won't be able to walk into a shop because the shelves will be bare. This is not financial advice. This is a reading of the tea leaves. The industrial logic is undeniable. The physics are undeniable. Copper is yesterday's metal. It served us well for the electrification of the 20th century. But the 21st century, the century of high-density AI, robotics, and EVs, belongs to silver. The elites know this. Why do you think central banks have been buying gold at record paces? They are exiting the fiat system. But the smart money, the really smart money, is looking at the gold-to-silver ratio. It's sitting at historically high levels. It takes 80-something ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. Geologically, it comes out of the ground at 8-to-1. That ratio has to revert. And when you combine the monetary reversion with the industrial shock of the Tesla switch, silver creates wealth on a generational scale. The window is closing, the leak is out, the clock is ticking. Let's look deeper into the specifics of the motor design mentioned in the leak. The document refers to stator-level sintering. In a traditional motor, you wrap copper wire around a core. There are air gaps, there is inefficiency. In this new design, silver is sintered, basically 3D printed or fused, directly into the stator geometry. This allows for a magnetic flux density that was previously impossible. This isn't just about better range, it's about power. It's about the cybercab being able to run for 1,000,000 miles with zero motor maintenance. Silver doesn't corrode like copper. It doesn't degrade under thermal stress the same way. This is a 1,000,000-mile motor. And for a robotaxi fleet, that durability is the key to profitability. Tesla isn't doing this just to be fancy. They are doing it because the math of a robotaxi network demands it. But that demand creates a black hole for silver. If they plan to build 20 million robotaxis over the next decade, and each one uses 10 ounces of silver, that is 200 million ounces. That represents roughly 25% of the entire annual global mining supply, just for one car model, from one company. Now add in the solar demand, which is projected to consume 50% of global supply by 2027. Now add in the AI demand, as every new NVIDIA chip and server rack requires high-purity silver interconnects. Now add in the military demand, as every new missile and drone guidance system relies on silver. You exceed 100% of mining supply. It is that simple. We are heading for a mathematical impossibility. The only variable that can change to balance this equation is price. The price must rise high enough to destroy demand elsewhere. It must rise high enough to make someone melt down their grandmother's tea set. It must rise high enough to make it profitable to mine silver 2 miles underground in the freezing Arctic. That price is not $30. It is not $50. And the banks know this. This is why the volatility is getting so violent. They are trying to shake you out. They smash the price down at 4 a.m. on a Sunday night to trigger your stop losses. They want your silver. They want you to panic and sell because they know what Tesla knows. They know the copper era is ending. Don't let them have it. The silver-only motor leak is the signal you have been waiting for. It is the confirmation that the physical reality of the elements is finally overriding the paper reality of the bankers. It is interesting to note the silence from the other auto majors. Ford, GM, Toyota. Are they silent because they don't know? Or are they silent because they are frantically trying to secure their own supplies before the public finds out? My bet is on the latter. There have been massive unallocated withdrawals from the Shanghai exchange. Someone is taking delivery, someone big. We are watching a game of musical chairs where the music is about to stop, and there are only 3 chairs for 100 people. The people sitting in the chairs are the ones holding physical silver. Everyone else, the ones holding tech stocks, the ones holding bonds, the ones holding dollars, is going to be left standing when the music cuts. Tesla has just turned off the music. The ramifications extend beyond just the EV market. Think about the grid itself. If we are moving to a fully electrified grid, the efficiency losses in transmission lines become a major issue. While we can't replace high-tension lines with silver, the substations, the transformers, the switches, the nodes of the grid will all need to be upgraded to handle the load. And the most efficient material for those nodes is silver. The electrification of the world is literally the silverification of the world. And yet, look at the sentiment. People are bored. Silver hasn't done anything in 10 years, they say. It's a dead rock. That is exactly what they want you to think. The greatest gains in history are made by buying when the public is bored and selling when the public is manic. The public is bored with silver right now, but the insiders, the engineers at Tesla, the strategists at the PLA in China, the vault managers in Zurich, they are not bored. They are busy. They are positioning themselves for the silver squeeze of the century. This leaked memo is likely just the tip of the iceberg. If Tesla has already engineered the motor, that means they have already built the prototypes. It means they have already stress tested them. It means the supply contracts are already signed. We are not looking at a concept for 2030. We are looking at a product for 26. The demand shock is immediate. When the official announcement drops, you will see a coordinated media campaign to downplay it. They will say, Tesla uses only a small amount. They will say, recycling will solve the shortage. They will say, asteroid mining is coming. Do not listen to the noise. Look at the numbers. Look at the geology. Look at the deficits. The deficit is real. The vaults are empty. And the biggest buyer in the world just entered the chat. Stay skeptical of the paper price. Stay focused on the physical fundamentals. And most importantly, hold the line. The transfer of wealth from the paper-blinded masses to the reality-focused few is about to begin. The Tesla silver-only motor is the trigger. You have been warned. This narrative fits perfectly with the patterns we have seen before. Every time a new technology emerges, the raw material demand is underestimated. When the cell phone came out, nobody predicted the lithium boom. When the internet scaled, nobody predicted the copper demand for data centers. Now, with the AI plus EV convergence, the silver demand is being criminally underestimated. But this time, it is different. Because unlike lithium or copper, silver is money. It has a monetary premium. So when the industrial crunch hits, it will ignite a monetary fire. It is a dual rocket booster. One engine is industry, the other engine is currency collapse. Both are firing at the same time. Tesla is just the spark. The fuel has been piling up for decades. Prepare yourselves. The age of cheap silver is over. The age of the silver standard, not by government decree, but by industrial necessity, is beginning. And in this new standard, he who holds the metal makes the rules. Tesla just made their move. What will yours be?